And we're live. Hello, citizens, and welcome back to the Comm Relay. In today's episode, coming to you live from Czech Republic, which is currently very flooded, but fortunately I live on a hill, so the show goes on. Today, we're going to be talking about advice for new players, and maybe if we have some new players come on the show, we can answer some new player questions or from the chat or whatever. As always, if you would like to talk to me on the Comm Relay, all you have to do is join the Armory Discord with the link in the description of the stream and hop down to the waiting room channel, and I will pull you from there when I'm ready for you. So I have a couple guests lined up today, all of them experienced players, and they're going to share some worldly wisdom, and I'm going to ask them other questions about what they do in game and that kind of stuff. And yeah, we'll see where it goes. So without further ado, I'm going to go to our first guest, which is MaidenAriana. I'm going to drag you in. And I'm going to make sure you are unmuted. Can we hear you, Ariana?
Hello.
We can hear you. Thank you. And I'm going to put your name in then.
Sounds good.
So, before we get into the questions, it is my understanding that you're a content creator as well. So if you could tell the audience what you do, what kind of content, and where they can find you on Twitch or on YouTube or anywhere else, really.
So I am a Star Citizen streamer. That's my primary game when it comes to Twitch. And I also have a massive retro PC collection. So I do retro computing content, both working on the machines and playing games on them. And that's both on Twitch and YouTube as well. There's an entire playlist called the Retro Alcove that most of those videos are under. And I just recently came back from the Vintage Computer Festival Midwest, where I was an exhibitor bringing some of my machines and things. So, but yeah, Twitch and YouTube. I also have several websites. I have MaidenAriana.com. That's the channel name, both on Twitch and YouTube. And then I also have the RetroAlcove.com, where some of my collection is featured. And then there's Star Citizen, which is a Twitch chat-based game that I created for Star Citizen streamers. It increases the interaction with chat because it uses chat commands to play sort of a miniature version of Star Citizen. Kind of ships go across the screen doing cargo runs and things like that. And it's a browser overlay like anything else you would do in OBS as a streamer. So
I need to look into that after this. Yeah, I saw some of your retro PC stuff, and it gives me PTSD flashbacks because the first programming language I learned was assembly, and I still have some unresolved trauma from trying to do assembly, and then they brought it on me in college again, and I was like, oh, for fuck's sakes, not again.
Yeah, I had some exposure to it in college, but it was for me it was basic on a Commodore VIC-20. That's the first one I learned.
Yeah, they just threw us in like, oh, freshman in computer science, so here's assembly and C. We will see you in a couple of years. And then you exit, and everyone's like, assembly? Like, how is that applicable in your career? And now I'm a C# developer because
I was in college when they were still teaching COBOL too. They were just about to stop doing it. So I had a COBOL class. And
well, the thing is, all of banking is written in COBOL. So if you know COBOL, you're actually pretty employable.
Oh, it's especially now because there's all the conversion projects going on to move something from COBOL to C#. And C# is my primary language now. .NET.
I am on the shit end of that stick these days.
I had to do one of those, and thankfully not another one since. But
right now, I'm a full stack C# React and everything else kind of a guy right now. Nice. Do I hate it? No. Do I love it? Also no. Do I get paid a lot? Definitely not.
There's the moments, right? The moments where you deploy something that was difficult and. Yeah.
For me, it's like when the integration test is green, like, oh, it all passed. Mm-hmm. Something went horribly wrong or horribly right, if it passed on the first try, and then they make me write SQL, and I'm like, why? Why do I have to do this? That's why we have code first. This is the whole purpose of code first is this, so I don't have to do this. Whoever
Yeah.
wrote Entity Framework, I love you.
You want to do a link query instead, right?
Yeah, I mean, I know that on the back end it still translates to a SQL query, but
Exactly.
just link is just nice. Okay, it's just nice. Like I like builder pattern. Okay, it's nice. It looks good. It works. It even performs pretty well sometimes. Like
I hated it at first when I first got exposed to Link because you had to rewire your brain a little to write those. But now I agree, it's so much better.
Yeah, if I don't know if you've done .NET 8, they have done a little bit of work on it, so it actually performs okay now. Even if you have a database first database, it actually works pretty well. But then again, you need a database architect and someone who actually knows how to do it correctly, because I'm just there like, well, I need a table, so I will make a table. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, I'm just gonna rewrite it because we're not in production. So I can do that. Anyway, we got way off track there. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
But it's always nice.
Altogether.
It's always nice to talk to another developer because I don't get to do this at work a lot. So let's go back to Star Citizen. So when did you start playing Star Citizen, and what was your startership? What was your initial pledge? And do you still have it?
I do. Yeah, I'm never upgrading or getting rid of that. I pledged originally in 2013. I did see Chris's original YouTube video, but somehow I missed the Kickstarter program. I never saw the follow-up to that, and I feel I'm still kicking myself to this day that I missed, the opportunity to invest in the Kickstarter. But yeah, I ended up around Christmas time, that year, because I think it was in the fall of 2012 when the YouTube video came out, and then Christmas time I looked it up again, probably because I finally had breathing room being off of work and everything, and I found the original video again. Then I realized, it's actually happening, and then in 2013 I pledged and got the original kernel package with the Hornet. So the Hornet is my first ship. Nice. And then I also got the Aurora LX as another one. Nice. I think I literally got them on the same day because I was just like, well, I might as well
the LX is a good
money
ship.
Into the game.
It's objectively a good ship. Yeah. So
there was a time. Well, I switched it to the LN because there was a time period where the LX, the chair was disappearing when you completed a quantum jump. Like you'd be flying your ship, and literally the driver's seat would disappear out from under you, and then you're stuck because you can't control your ship, and
only amateurs
just
need a
sitting
pilot
there in
chair.
space. Right? Yeah. But yeah, I held on to it. I don't intend to get rid of my beloved first Hornet ever, even though it's been supplanted now by...
Yeah, did you actually get the upgrade token for it? Because I never figured out how it worked, because they said, oh, we're going to give everybody who has a Mark 1 a token to upgrade it to Mark 2, but then you had a bunch of people who had the F7A, and then they got the F7C Mark 2 token, and it was kind of a whole thing. So did you get the correct one? Did you not get it at all? Are you going to use it?
So I have, I believe in my hangar I still have the F7A. I had it in there, and I was trying to figure out how it showed up in my hangar, but yeah, I do have. I ended up buying 2 of the Mark IIs to give one to my son because I try and help him build up his hangar as well. He's 19. He plays the game and enjoys it.
That's like a free co-pilot there, like free crew. Just go down to his room and be like, hey, I need a cargo loader. Hop on.
Yeah. But yeah, at this point, I built up kind of a massive fleet, doing content creation. There's kind of that extra reason to have a variety of ships to use and, stream from them and all that. And but I kind of use that as an excuse to get more.
Yeah, you gotta spend that disposable income somehow, is what I say.
Yeah, not that I'm beholden to anybody and have anyone looking over my shoulder, but I
I only have my cat
I
doing
argue
that.
with myself about whether I should spend the money on certain ships or not, and
That's
I
what the
typically,
voices do in my head all the time, just
yeah,
arguing. But yeah, so you're keeping the Mark One Hornet. And it's a good choice. It's a great ship. I
absolutely.
love it. Don't have one, but love it. It's absolutely sort of that. It kind of has that original design to it. Even though it actually had a mini rework at some point. It was like 3 years ago. They did a mini rework on the Mark One Hornet, but all they did
They
was
did, yeah.
I think it
It
was just like a
needed it.
bug fixing pass and a texture pass. That was all they did. They didn't do any structural changes. But it kind of has that old design, and they have those old trailers when they all they had was a Bengal,
Mhm.
an Idris, and a Hornet model, and they used that to make some very good trailers way back in the day. Uh,
Well, and it used to blow up into the bathtub all the time, like where you'd suddenly be sitting in the cockpit only with no wings,
yep,
no body of the ship.
yep.
And now it's finally more of
Now
a
it's fixed. Now it
soft
actually
decibel
works.
ship and all that. Yeah.
So when you started playing Star Citizen, and I know there wasn't much going on back then. I didn't really like. I came
Yeah.
in 2.7.1, so right before 3.0 went out with moons and stuff. Like it went out in December, and I pledged in like September or October that year. So I had it
Yeah.
good. I had it good when I started. But what was kind of your first profession that you tried in Star Citizen?
So, I mean, and I remember I have video of playing in 2014, just doing, the Arena Commander,
Yeah.
although they didn't really call it that at that time. But when it came to the version, it was somewhere around 2.8 or 2.9 that I actually started poking my head in there and playing more. Um, I was frustrated, of course. I think at that time that it was still no female avatars in the game whatsoever. So,
Yeah, that was
but
a
yeah,
very long time. I think it was like three.
yeah,
I think it was like the double digits 3 patch.
hmm
So it was a long
yeah,
time. Yeah.
exactly. But I mean, just I would poke my head in there. I would spend more time just kind of playing against the NPCs in the Arena Commander mode, because there wasn't a lot there just yet, and you could only walk around your hangar so much too
Yeah.
to before it was like, okay, well, this hasn't changed, and
Yeah.
I mean, I understood, they're building massive library of things before they could really, have content for us to go through. So
Yeah. That's a lot of code to write and a lot of assets to create there, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
And yes, Frost Zone. It has been over 10 years since it was like 4 years into the project. It's been 10 years since that. Uh, but yeah, I
hmm
remember when I bought in, I was doing a lot of racing in Arena Commander in my Aurora MR, and it actually performed pretty well for racing, even though now it doesn't anymore. But I had a lot of fun with that. Like all I wanted to do, because I pledged in during a free fly, and they gave me a saber during the free fly. I was like, I need this. Obviously, being a broadcast college student, I couldn't. Uh, but I was like, you know what? I will grind and get this thing in Arena Commander. And I did after like 2 months or 3 months, and it was the most satisfying feeling in game. Uh, and then 3.0 went out, and all of my progress just went away, and my saber was no longer. But we had planets, and you could go to moons and stuff. And I think they actually gave everybody a Cuddy Black back then, so we could test out outpost trading. So I was doing a lot of that.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I think it was 3.0, or it might have been the one after it. I don't have a whole lot of long term memory, so and that was a lot of years ago. I was literally a freshman in college, and now I'm like a couple of years into being out of college, so it's a lot of years ago. That's how long I've been playing this. But obviously, some people have been playing longer. So, in your early
Yeah.
days, and whether that was sort of in the Arena Commander times or after that, when we finally had something to do in the persistent universe, what did you struggle with a lot in those early days of one or the other?
Um, when it comes to, just kind of learning the game and being able to know what was even available at that time, like it all depended, I think, on how much time you could spend looking into, the content they were putting out on YouTube, and just there was a lot of sort of background information you could just go through and start to learn. Oh, you mean I can do that already? Okay, well then go and try that. And it it wasn't as evident how much was there, and I think that's still kind of their challenge. Is there's so much inside Star Citizen to discover and play and enjoy. And unless somebody is going to take some gamer out there who hasn't tried it yet, unless they're going to take time to look into all of that, they just don't get it. They don't, like, I was at that Vintage Computer Festival telling people, because I had Wing Commander. That was my whole display. It was Wing Commander 1 and 2 on a 486 PC, and Wing Commander 3 and 4 on a Pentium 200. And I was telling them, yeah, I also stream on Twitch, and I stream Star Citizen now, which is, of course, sort of the evolution of what Chris wanted back then but couldn't do. And of course, some of them have seen some of those hit pieces or like the negative press about Star Citizen, and I just tell them, it's like anything else. There is so much there. You just gotta get your feet wet and dig into it a little bit, and you're gonna be shocked at how great of a universe it is.
I mean, Chris Roberts really meant it when he said "find your own adventure," because that's all this game is. There is no concrete way to start. There is no place where to start picking at it. You just have to start, and from there you have to find it on your own, or if you watch some content or that kind of stuff. But actually, when you were talking about the Vintage Computer Expo, I remembered a random thing. So if you ever come to Czech Republic, let me know. My university has a display of vintage computers, and they are taking a weird twist with it. They kind of have the, mainstream stuff. They have a lot of the old Apple computers, some early Intel processors, but they also have a couple components from Hall computers. But here's the fun part. They have the Soviet ones. And they have them opened up from the back, so you can actually see that it's all like hand bound with copper cabling. It is amazing. It is beautiful.
That's wild.
It is an amazing display. It takes up half a floor, and they just have this is like 2 kilobytes of memory, and it's the size of my wardrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, one side you kind of have the config board, and the other side you have it opened up so you can see inside. And then they have like the later models where it only takes up like half a room, and it's a whole computer. And they also have some interesting stuff, like the first Soviet scanner ever made, which you wouldn't be able to tell it's a scanner. It doesn't look like a scanner, but apparently it's a scanner. The sign says it's a scanner. I don't believe it's a scanner, but the sign says so. And I don't understand Cyrillic, so I can't check what it says on the buttons. But yeah, so indeed, find your own adventure in Star Citizen. So what did you start with, or did you just like try everything, or did you just like fly around? Because that's what I did. I flew around and took screenshots in my early days.
Yeah, flew around, tried to figure out how to do cargo, and when it came to when I'm trying to remember when the drug trade was available, because I gravitated towards that immediately.
I think like the risk, first couple patches, like 3.2 was like first jump down or something.
Yeah, and I love old Jump Town where you had to like find it yourself and everything. There where it wasn't a nav marker, and I loved the location how it was kind of inset inside a mountain as well. It was just a very cool landing approach, and the experience was awesome. I think they need to at some point kind of go back and make those spots a little more I don't know, just hidden, because you wouldn't just have a drug lab just out in the open.
The thing with original Jump Down was that it was hidden, and it was a bug that made it spawn so many drugs. And CH are trying to capture that feeling now with making it an event, but they can announce it everywhere, and I see what they're trying to do, but it doesn't really capture the original spirit of it. And then you kind of get the, everybody standing in line for this dispenser, which for me, that's the greatest example of the community figuring out, we can actually make more money if we cooperate rather than if we try to fight over this.
Yep.
But I hope they bring it back, the original way where it doesn't really say to anyone, or maybe if you have like a good reputation with pirate factions, then it will give you a notification saying, oh, we are overstocked on drugs. Would you like to buy some? But again, CIG iterate on this. I think they improved Jumpdown 2.0 since the original release last year, I think was the new Jumpdown. I think it was last year or maybe the year before that. I'm not sure. And then they did like 2 more iterations with different changes on it, and they reworked the location, and it's working. But they still need to work on it a little bit. So, final question. So, what is your biggest piece of advice for new players?
Kind of along the lines we've been talking about. When it comes to missions, and you look at your mission list as a new player, a lot of those initial missions don't sound fun or interesting at all because they're the base level starting thing you got to do to get to the better thing. So keep that in mind with everything in Star Citizen. They've built in progressions now at this point. So new players who go on and just try it for the first time, or some streamers who do other games and then just decide to pop in and see what it's about. They're like, oh, there's not much there, and they're just wrong. just play it for a little while. Any MMO, you got to kill a bunch of rats before you can do the fun, interesting stuff, and that's what these initial missions are. They're the rats you got to get through to get to the good stuff, and there's a lot of really interesting, fun missions with neat payoffs and special armor if you kill the boss and things like that. And you just got to get in there and discover it and figure it out that it's there. And
Star Citizen is very slow burn. There's a lot of prep. There's a lot of traveling, but when the action kicks off, it kicks off fast. You might be doing a delivery and you're going to get ambushed, and you have to fight. And there comes your action. And like you said, every D&D campaign starts with kobolds, every single one. That's a rule at this point.
Yep.
So, or rats. It's always kobolds or giant rats.
Exactly.
Yeah, the monster manual is not a lot of help on this one, I'm afraid. Anyway, so not yet. I'm looking forward to the new one. My 2024 D&D stuff already shipped. Question is when it's going to get here, because seeing as the country is floating right now, I have faith.
I moved to a new area 2 years ago, and I still haven't found a D&D group to play with out here. I'm disappointed. There needs to be one.
Well, if you're interested, I am a part of a Star Citizen D&D group where we are converting D&D to Star Citizen, or Star Citizen to D&D.
Oh, that's amazing.
And we're doing it live, and we're doing it every week. But it might actually be too early for you, because we start at 12 p.m. my time, so that's 9 hours before now. So that might be like middle of the night for you.
Yeah. Middle of the night. Yep.
Well, if you ask me nicely, I am willing to run an online D&D group, because not that I have like 5 D&D groups that I'm running right now, because everybody wants a piece of me. Because I don't know, I just have this like way of creating a campaign that scares the shit out of the players, but they want more. They like keep coming back. It's like they're fiending for that next session. It's horrible.
That's awesome. Yeah.
It's great, but
horrible for you, awesome for everybody else.
Yeah, it's awesome for everyone, and I love the attention. I love the attention, but guys, I want to have a quiet weekend where nobody asks me about something D&D related. And we actually are playing D&D, but there is also this Czech branch of D&D, I would say, where they sort of just reworked D&D into a more Czech system, or like with a Czech translation and a different dice system. And then they went for version 2, where they actually created their own dice system. And it is awesome because it's less numbers, it's more storytelling and more descriptions, and I love it. And it's like takes away so much work from the prep. One of these days I'm going to sit down and translate it to English so I can actually play it with people. Because nobody has translated it to English, which I am very surprised by. So if I ever get around to do that, I'm going to give you a call. I think you would like it.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. So anyway, any closing thoughts on advice for new players, or what new players should watch out for in Star Citizen?
Even if you're somebody who tends to just solo everything, definitely spend time playing with other people as well, because you're not going to get the full experience until you put some time in, and other players will show you new things, show you some secret areas of the game. It's go outside your comfort zone a little bit, find your people within Star Citizen. It's well worth it, and I wouldn't still be constantly playing it and having it be my main game if it wasn't like that. So it's worth it.
Yeah. Star Citizen is not just a game; it's a project, it's a community. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of content, a lot of people. And yeah, one time I stepped out of my comfort zone, and now I am a director at ADI. Yeah, that's how that happened, folks. I volunteered once, and that's how I'm here. Anyway, so thank you, Ariana. I very much appreciate you coming on the show, even if it's early for you.
Me.
Absolutely, I would love to have you on more shows for more topics because I think you have a lot to say. I saw that you do a little bit of racing, and I want to do a racing episode. I'm trying to talk Echo Bit into coming onto the show and then talking about Anzia. But there's a little bit of back and forth going there. So eventually there's going to be a racing episode. So I'm definitely going to invite you for that. But if you ever see a topic that I'm covering and you want to come in and talk to me, absolutely. I always like to have more people and new people on. So absolutely.
Thank you. Yeah, will do. Yeah. Absolutely.
So thank you very much. I hope you have a great rest of the day. You're free to go back up to waiting room or log off, and I'm going to pull in our next guest.
All right. Thanks. Take care, everybody.
Thank you. Have a good one. All right, folks. So our next guest, and thank you, Ariana, again for joining us on the stream. I always love having new people on and talking about, like, for me, it's all about getting new perspectives on things in Star Citizen. And it helped me create better content, better videos in the future. Like tomorrow, we're gonna have a video that's based off of something I talked to Numidius in a previous show about factions, and it's a long video. I had a long train ride last week, and I wrote like a 6-page script for a video, and it's a very long video. I think it's like 14 minutes, something like that, or maybe I condensed it to 12. You will see tomorrow. It's coming out at the usual time. I know we didn't have a video this week because I was super busy, and I actually didn't have enough time to get the video out the door for this week. I apologize, but it is what it is. So moving on to our next guest. Our next guest is Cugix. So, Cugix, you are live, and you are unmuted. Let's see if we can hear you.
Yeah, I hope so. Should be working.
Yes, we can hear you. I don't know if you were watching the stream, but if you were the audio levels good on both ends?
It sounded good for me. Yeah.
Cool. I will take that. So, Cugix. So, who are you and what do you do in Star Citizen?
In Star Citizen. Okay, so my name's Cugix, of course. And I am an assistant director for ADI in the S3 staff shop. So a little bit, let me unpack that a little bit more. S3 basically currently works on all the org events and all the trainings that we have for our members in ADI. So for those who don't know, ADI has a lot of trainings where we teach people the basics of the game, which is from very simple, how do I put clothing on, how do I put an armor on, to how do I load something onto my ship. Asterisk there, it has not been updated in a while, so that is something that is being looked at. But okay,
when you said that, I was like, is that my division? And I'm like, no, okay. Everything is fine.
I forget what you moved divisions recently.
I moved. I'm in CSS now, so
Ooh, no,
loading cargo no longer my problem.
That's CIM. That's no longer your problem.
I have bigger problems now.
I believe medical is your problem, so that's something that has been a hot potato for a while.
Yes, so. the board threw it back to us with some interesting questions, and
yes,
we are getting them answers. Because guys, certifications in ADI are a big thing, and training is a big thing. And we have a lot of layers of review before a training material goes out to the members and before people can get certified with it. And that's one of the best things about the org is that we are willing to teach anyone anything from the basics.
Yeah, that's very correct. Yeah. I actually remember when I was quite new and I had just joined ADI and I was not really that versatile and well versed with what is happening in the verse and what is possible in the verse. I remember saying, hey, I want to go do some mining, some ground mining with ground vehicles because I think that's accessible for me as a starter. And then before I knew it, I had like 10, 15 people helping me out doing ground mining. It was fun, as always, in Star Citizen, trying to work around all the issues. But yeah, in the end, it was. I had a great evening, and I think the rest had a great evening as well. So
Exactly.
yeah.
That's all we do. So, when did you start playing Star Citizen, and what was your starter, and do you still have that ship?
So I started in December of 2021.
You are a newbie. You're still new.
I am quite new, yeah. Compared to some other people in the game, I am quite new, yeah. I actually did see when the whole hype started. I had the intention of joining the Kickstarter. However, my financial needs were different at the time, so I ended up choosing not to. Whether that was a good decision, I'm still not really convinced. But yeah, I'm here now, and I've been enjoying it for a good while.
Yeah, people ask me like, when is a good time to get into Star Citizen, and I always say, whenever you want. Like, it doesn't matter if you have been around, since the Kickstarter, or if you started, 5 years ago, or even if you started this week. It's still a good time to get into the game. There is stuff to do with the game. There is always going to be more. So, yeah. So what was your starter ship?
My starter ship was actually the, and I don't know which one it is, but it's the Mustang. I think it was the...
they give the Alpha.
It's the Alpha, right? Isn't it? Yeah. So I had the Alpha, and I had the Alpha for less than 24 hours.
Okay.
I actually CCU'd my Alpha to a Avenger Titan.
Yeah, that's the best choice for a starter, in my opinion.
I actually agree. I had a lot of fun with that. I flew that ship for a long while, and it's a versatile ship. Yeah. You can do your box missions with it. You can do some combat with it. I always say it's not the greatest ship, but it's okay-ish at everything.
It's okay. I started with the Aurora MR, and I really wanted to do box deliveries. And initially, the Aurora MR, to get inside, you actually had to use the interaction, so you actually couldn't get in with the box in your hands. So you kind of had to wedge the box in there somehow, which was a little bit difficult at times. And then I upgraded to the Avenger as well. And I was like, maybe 2 years into playing Star Citizen that I upgraded. All that time I had the Aurora only. And I was playing with a lot of people, so I always had access to different ships. And then I got the Avenger, and suddenly, I can actually do combat pretty well, because it was a decent combat ship back in the day. I could get up some bounties. It can get me further away places. Like, I can jump from Crusader to Hurston in one go, because the Aurora MR initially would overheat like 3 times during the jump.
Ooh.
Yeah. It can carry a little bit of cargo, and I can do deliveries, no problem. And especially now that hauling is in, and you have those, small hauling missions where it's 8 SCU, and you have 8 SCU on the Avenger. So it actually perfectly works out with that ship. So I hope people use it still for that. And for me, it's the perfect starter. And my cat is currently trying to steal something out of a box on my shelf. Maggie, could you stop trying to chew on my zip ties? Would you kindly do that, little cat? No? You want to chew on a zip tie? Thank you. Sorry, guys. That's the only conversations I have with my cat is like, would you stop that? Would you like a snack? No, you already had a snack. You want food? There's kibble in the bowl. And then you shake the kibble. And she eats it, because suddenly there is more kibble in the bowl, even though you just shook the bowl.
They can't see the bottom anymore of the bowl.
Yeah, you can't see so there's more. So owning a cat is great. Love it. 10 out of 10. Except when at 6 in the morning she decides that it's time to wake up and it's bath time, so she licks my face.
Yeah. Okay.
So and you kept the Titan after that, or did you CCU that as well?
I still have the Titan. I have been contemplating selling it because I've spent a little bit too much money, so I'm guaranteed a game package. Um, so
Okay,
yeah,
at what spending level are you guaranteed a game package? I need to know because if I need to know if I'm deep enough, essentially.
If you get a top hat, as far as I know, you get it. It should be in that package that you get.
Crap.
Yeah.
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 I think I'm in too deep in that case.
Yeah.
No, wait, I'm not sure if I get a top hat, actually. I know I have the pistol. I got the pistol.
I think isn't the first one is the top hat or and the monocle?
I am not sure. Okay, I'm gonna check. Because I know I have the gun. I know I have the pistol. That I know. I don't know if I get the top hat by default. So let's see. It's gonna be under my hanger, I assume, right? And it's gonna be...
Yes. Yes. You could just... I think if you look for game packages, it should just show up.
Oh, I actually have... Yes, I have the Aurora MR package. I have the Squadron 42 package. And then I have the Ready for Anything giveaway. Because I won the screenshot contest. And that comes with...
Oh.
It doesn't say it comes with a game package. Let's see. That's interesting. It says it's listed under game packages, but it doesn't contain the game packages. So, yeah, I'm not sure. Let's see.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, but I have the. Let's see. No, that doesn't say anything. I guess I guess I've been naughty, and I don't get a free game package for having spent too much money. I have concierge, like I have access to it because I spent that much money. I'm a high admiral, but oh yeah, I get a top hat. Yeah, yeah, I get a top hat.
Yeah, you should have it.
Yeah, it doesn't say that it comes with the
It says in the text, I believe.
Let's see. It says top hat. Blah blah blah. Nope. But I skimmed it, so maybe I skipped it. So, yeah. So I guess I could sell my Avenger if I wanted to, but I don't want to because I still use it sometimes. But yeah, I could if I wanted to, which I didn't know. Thank you. I learned something today.
Yeah, they did that like a while ago. I didn't have it at first, but then because there already was, I think it's High Admiral, the rank of the concierge. Yeah. So yeah, that is when they added it, and I was like, do I still fly it? Do I want to keep it? And you know, part of it is just like nostalgia and wanting to keep it.
Yeah, I mean, it's like the only ship in my fleet that doesn't have LTI.
Yeah.
And that's what makes me feel bad about it, because I'm going to forget that it exists, and I'm going to forget to buy insurance for it, and I'm going to lose it because I'm stupid. But at the same time, like, come on, it's like nostalgia. Like, it's my Avenger. Like, come on. Like, it's been there from the start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I'm actually interested how the whole insurance thing will work out.
Yeah, that's why I'm waiting, because they haven't really said anything about it ever on how it's gonna work.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't think they know. I'm one of those people who say that every ship that was bought while in alpha should have LTI by default. And most of them do, because most people buy ships with LTI. Or, you know, with those extended insurances that come at IAE or during Invictus, because they give out those 10-year insurances there. But still, I think every ship that was bought in Alpha should get LTI with it. Just makes sense.
Yeah, and I think that wouldn't be the hottest topic of things to do for for CIG. Like, they've done other things that people would rebel over.
Yeah, I think it would be one of those things where people would be like, yeah, it screws a couple people who paid some extra dollars for LTI for concepts, but it's like overall a good move for everybody. So to me, the gain is higher in that scenario. Obviously, CIG's math may be different on this, because indeed they're making a little bit more money on those LTI concepts. So we will see how it works out for them in the end.
Yeah. If they do that, I would expect them to do that whenever they stop selling the ships.
Yeah.
I think that is when they might say, hey, you know what? Everyone gets LTI on everything that's in their hangar currently.
And that would be great. I think everybody would be happy about that. Do I think they're gonna ever stop selling ships? They said so, but I don't think so. Like it's
I guess we'll have to wait and see whether
we'll see in 10 years.
They're going to do that.
We'll see in 10 years when they finally get to that point. So, when you started, what was the first profession that you tried in Star Citizen?
The first profession was bounty hunting. And I'll tell you why. I was actually following someone's guide that they had put up on YouTube because I was quite overwhelmed. I remember it was when I joined. It was just after IAE had ended for that year. And my first purchase was actually an Aegis T-shirt from the lobby.
Nice.
And then I was like, oh shit, this was like half of the money that I had.
The rookie mistake. Oh yeah, that looks cool. Where's my money?
Yeah, exactly. So
that was 500 credits. That was almost everything I had.
Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. Yeah, and I felt like the grind at the start was really difficult, so I was really annoyed with that. I remember going to the same bounty mission, or what felt like the same bounty mission, again and again and again, and just feeling like, oh god, I really should not have spent that $500.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's okay once you get a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, back then in 2021, bounty missions were kind of the thing everybody was doing because they were consistently working. It was one of those features that consistently worked. And they paid out pretty well for the time investment you put in. Because back then, mining was... I think they had refining already in. So to get paid for mining, you kind of had to wait a lot and you had to know how to do it. Because we didn't have gadgets, we didn't have... modules even back then, so you kind of it was really skill based, and you had to really know where to go and where to go refine, and then you actually had to have like a cargo ship to go and take the refined materials to sell them. So everybody who didn't want to do that went to do bounties, and you could really go from kind of those low tier bounties, and you could do them with a Avenger no problem, and to even like high tier stuff, and you could, if you upgraded your ship, you could still do that with an Avenger. And a lot of people were doing... I was doing that, except I think I was doing it in a Cuddy Black back then. Because I had a Cuddy Black still. Now I don't.
Yeah.
Now the Cuddy Black is a Prospector or a 400i or something. It's something else now.
It's evolved.
Yeah, but
it's evolved.
Yeah, I'm going to ditch the 400i. They really... I don't know if you've read the component updates they posted this week.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's like I have a 400i. It's actually it's the only ship that I ever went out of my way to get because I really wanted it.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it off of CIG. Yeah. And I love the look of the ship. I love the idea of the ship.
Yeah.
But I do not feel like currently the ship is in a fair space.
Yeah, it didn't quite deliver from the start. Like, it looks good. I like it. It's really great. I even have a paint for it. Like, I bought the black paint because I have the black paint for the MSR. So I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to do a black paint for 400i. But after master modes and even like before master modes with the rebalance, it kind of wasn't performing the way I would like. And now I have the Zeus coming very soon. Like they said, it's going to be 324X patch for the Zeus, and that kind of takes up the same role in the fleet, and it's probably going to do it better because it's kind of done with the new component layouts in mind. So
it kind of depends on what the role is you have attributed to the 400i, because currently I don't think it has a role. It's supposed to be a luxury exploration ship, but the opportunities for exploration is really low currently, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I was using it as a daily driver because it can kind of, you can bring 2 more people, man the turrets. It can fight a little bit. It has that size 3 shield, and it has a little bit of cargo, can carry a vehicle. It was kind of like my fun mobile, essentially. But now it doesn't really fulfill that for me anymore. So what I'm right now thinking is, yeah, I'm gonna have the Zeus for that. It's a same-ish size ship, kind of the same armament, same crew, a little bit less cargo. It only has like the ES version only has 32 SEUs or 34 SEU of cargo, they said. It's a little less cargo, but that's not really the point. Like, if I want to run cargo, I have a C1 and I have an MSR, so it's fine. But, you know, it's going to be fast. It's going to be, you know, nice, sleek. It looks good. It's got that ladder access and all the things I like. And I think I'm going to upgrade that 400i to a Galaxy because I like the Galaxy Refinery module already because I have an Expanse. And I figure I'm just going to go higher tier with the refining. And then I'm going to get the base building fabricator module when that comes out. So because it's a modular ship. So, you know. And the loaner is a Karak, which is always nice. I love the Karak.
Yeah, I think I have like several ships that have a loaner Karak. And then I have a pledge for the Karak as well. So yeah. I have 2 Karaks.
Yeah, I should have like splurged for the Karak when it was cheap. Like I should have done it when I thought I should have done it. Like I was kind of saving money back then, but I should have done it because now it's like $600 for the standalone pledge. Like it got expensive to buy a Karak.
It got expensive, yeah.
At this point, might as well buy a Polaris or an Orion because the Orion is cheaper than the Karak now. The Orion is still $540 or $550.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. It's cheap.
Ooh, okay.
And we know what you're buying at IAE now. And we kind of touched on this already a little bit. So what did you struggle with when you started playing Star Citizen?
Cargo.
But cargo was easy back then.
No, it isn't really cargo. It's more like trading. Because I did not understand the whole supply and demand system. So what I did, I took my Avenger, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, I'm here, and I want a trade route, so I don't, waste money on, quantum fuel going from, I don't know, I think it was Crusader to Hurston.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know what, I'll just take a little bit of cargo. So I was like, okay, I go to this tool that I found, and I put in all the metrics, and it told me to buy a little bit of, I think it was a drug or I don't know what from one of the planetary bases there. And I remember looking at that and I was like, wait, my ship can carry way more. So, of course, I dragged the slider all the way over and bought like all my money's worth of drugs. And then I fly to the destination and I'm like, well, it's only buying like 1% of what I bought. And then I was like, well, there goes all my money.
No, you just have to sit at the terminal and wait.
Yeah, now I have to sit at my terminal and wait.
That was a big struggle for a lot of people because around that time they merged. So around that time they started preparing for server meshing. And the first thing they did, expecting server meshing will go faster, is that they merged the inventory of every instance. So it doesn't matter which server you go on, it just is the same amount of inventory everywhere. And they didn't really quite adjust how much inventory was available and how fast it was refreshing to actually be able to accommodate the volume that was being traded actually, because I don't think they knew how much commodities was traded at the time. I don't think they had the metric. And they killed trading for about 2 years by doing that.
Yeah.
And it still hasn't bounced back, even now with the cargo changes. They had some moments with scrap trading and that kind of stuff, but it hasn't quite gone back to where we had, like 2020 and 2021, we had people be like, oh, I bought 5 Caterpillars and I need 5 people to fly them for me so we can go buy Laranite. That was the shit we were doing in 2020.
I heard those stories and I was like, oh yeah, that would have been nice.
How much we made? Oh, we made 50 million this session.
Yeah, I joined in 3.16, I think it was, and
Yeah.
that was a really stable patch as well. And I think then the people who we're like a little bit further on in the game, who are grinding out money, we're actually doing quantanium mining.
Yeah.
Out in the belt.
It was quantanium mining. That was one meta. The other one was doing laranite trading, and then someone came up with, if you do high volume, like some random resource, I think helium or something. It was
it was some gas.
Some gas.
Right.
If you do like high volume, like thousands of SCU of this, you're gonna make so much money. And we literally made millions in a session on this. And it was literally, I got 5 C2s or 5 caterpillars, and I just need like 5 people to fly them for me.
Yep.
And then if you guys want to like fly fighters around us, that's fine. We're still gonna pay you a couple $100,000. And I was there, like, that was my first time flying a C2, I think. And I was like, so let me get this straight. We are flying to this random middle of nowhere outpost on Euterpe. We are buying all of this gas that can be bought here. And because it's cheap as fuck, there is a lot of it. Like, there is 5 C2s worth of this gas at this location. So there's like a couple thousand SCU. And we're going to go sell it to New Babbage. And we're going to do this like 5 times in a row. And we're going to make money on this. Like, enough money to where you can buy 5 C2s and pay 5 people to do this. And they're like, yep, that's the gist of it. I'm like, what? Like, the math in my brain wasn't working. And that was actually around the time when I was working on a trading tool myself, because that's where I was learning data mining. And I was learning how to do web applications and everything. So I made a trading tool, and people were using it. I gave it to these people so I could see the numbers, and I saw the numbers, and I still don't know how that math worked. I still don't know. Years later, I don't know how they did it, but it worked. They did it. We made a lot of money that patch. It was beautiful. I was doing quantanium mining. I had a prospector. I was mining quantanium like everybody else, because that's kind of the thing you could do on your own. But anyway, and that's when I figured out how to do the armory, and that's when I started the armory. There was an internal tool back then. I only made that thing for myself because I was doing like photo shoots for S10, and I needed to be able to tell people where to buy the costumes I wanted them to wear, essentially. So I made a tool for it, and I just like gave them the output, and people were like, how do you know this? I'm like, oh, I made a tool. Here it is. It's called the Armory. And then they were like, well, this is good. We would like to use this. Like, people like this. And that's how we got to where we have t-shirts. Yeah,
that's a very nice story.
Yeah. Got a bit of off track, but it's a very nice story. I like telling it. I like telling that story. It's a very good story. It landed me a few jobs, actually. So, now we have t-shirts and jackets, and hopefully we're gonna have patches at some point, if they get back to me, because my plan for CitizenCon is to give out patches and stickers for the armory. Ooh. So we have patches. I don't know if you have the stream on, but I have some samples, so we have a nice patch.
Yeah, I have it on. Ooh, yeah. Okay, that looks nice.
Yeah, and I have I'm redoing my merch store, and I have some different merch options than my previous store. So I have a bomber jacket with the logo embroidered on it. And people can actually buy that. And a bunch of people have bought it already.
That's actually cool. So usually when you have like these merch stores, it's just like printed, and it like fades really quickly.
Yeah. So the t-shirts are printed.
That's really nice.
The bomber jackets are embroidered very, very nicely. And they're like, it's a good jacket. Like, I've been wearing it in 10 degrees Celsius weather, and it's fine. Like, it's a good jacket. Before I put it out publicly that it exists and I start promoting it, I really want to test, the product. So I've been wearing it a lot. And we also have like baseball hats or trucker hats. Those are also embroidered, not printed. They're very nice. So I really like made sure that if I'm gonna be selling shit to people, it's a high quality product, because it does cost some money, and I want people to spend their money wisely, because it does support the channel, but I also want them to have something useful. And to me, I like jackets, and I wanted something to wear for CitizenCon, so I was like, okay, we're doing jackets now. That's simple as that. Okay. And shirts, because everybody likes shirts. And stickers. Stickers are great.
Stickers, yeah, people love stickers.
Yeah, and I'm trying to, for CitizenCon, we're trying to get holographic stickers made. with the logo of the armory. So I have something like cool to give out to people because I can't get them made for the merch store unless I want to like have them made externally and then ship them myself, which if people like them I might end up doing because it's not that expensive to like get shit printed and get it sent out. It's just a lot of hassle to do it, but I am willing to do it if people are interested because I'm that kind of crazy, I guess. Anyway, so moving back on topic. Sorry again. No, it's like the show. It's about tangents. I made a show so I can go on tangents with people. It's the whole point. So people can come in and go on tangents. It's like literally the whole point of why I'm doing this. So what is your biggest piece of advice for new players coming to Star Citizen? Whether that's for a free fly or actually pledging in.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It's a tough question.
I think... Yeah, it's a tough question. I would say don't follow the money. Most important, I think, is that you learn how the verse works, and not like do a calculation like I did with my cargo and say like, oh, I can make millions off of this with my little Titan. And yeah, so do what you like, learn how it works, and yeah, don't buy a shirt at the lobby as your first purchase. That's not smart.
You need that 500 for the fee for the bounty certification.
Yeah, exactly. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. And another one that I would advise people to do, especially when they're starting out, see if you can rent a ship that you're looking to buy first. It's a little bit cheaper, and you're not stuck with a ship that's cost you like millions. Because those millions, making millions with a Titan is not easy.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, but my thing was always like start with deliveries or bounties, work up to where you can rent a prospector or a rock, and go with that to make the real money because that's where the real money is. Or now you can actually rent a vulture and you actually skip a bunch of steps. I think you can rent a vulture now. I think they added it in the latest patch, or maybe they've removed because I know they were doing some shuffling with rentals there for reasons. Because why can't we have rentals for all industrial ships?
Yeah, I think, especially currently, I think salvage is more accessible to people.
Yeah, definitely.
And it also teaches you more about how the game works, I think.
Yeah.
And it's in my opinion, it's more fun because I remember when I got my mole, I was solo mining the mole. I would spend hours in the belt looking for that one nice quant rock to fill up my mole as much as possible. So yeah, I think salvage is just a lot more fun, but that's my opinion.
Generally, I agree with you. Salvage is very accessible from the start, and it does sort of include a lot of mechanics that are useful everywhere. Because when you think about it, in mining, all you really are doing is, you go, you mine, you go to a refinery, set up the refinery job. And that's pretty easy to figure out if you watch some tutorials. There's also some tools out there that can help you. And then all you have to do is load the cargo up and then take it somewhere. But with salvage, you kind of have to manage the travel. You have to know what to look for. You have to interact with the mission system if you want to do salvage contracts. And you kind of have to like, I have to get out and clear the dispenser and move the cargo. And now I actually have to break down the ship. And you have to, it's a lot more engaging for me and actually a lot easier to learn, and you make a lot more money while doing it. And you make money pretty quick once you start, because I was doing some salvage last night. I was doing panels, which is a little more advanced compared to salvage contracts, but I made 350,000 credits in an hour.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
And that's after they nerfed the RMC prices. So you can make a lot of money, and you can sort of go off of that. But yeah, you're right. Don't chase the money. Find what you like. Do that. And if it gets broken or it gets boring, try something else. When I get bored of salvage, I just fly around. I do a little bit of small trading. I take some screenshots, take some video. Do a bunker. Do a bounty. Or, crash site missions. I love crash site missions. They pay quite a lot, and all you have to do is fly there and click on some dead bodies. Easy.
Yep.
in and out in 10 minutes, unless a NPC reclaimer shows up and tries to kill you. That's when things get a bit complicated. So, Cugix, and I'm sorry, I've been calling you Cugix the whole time. I've been giving you the soft G, but it's the hard G the whole time. And the whole time, I mean literally your entire existence at ADI. I apologize. Yeah.
It's fine.
Look, like Jay says, it's on you guys for giving yourselves these names. Like, for me, you look at my name, you know exactly how to pronounce it. Easy, simple, real words.
I know someone who would get it wrong. And he's good with names.
Yeah, there have been a few staff meetings. So, any closing thoughts on like new player advice, or on generally on the topic or what we talked about today?
Yeah, in general, just don't follow the meta. And this is more not just for new players. I think this goes for even more experienced players, because how often do we see someone buy a ship, like pledge for a ship, and then CIG makes a change and that ship isn't as good anymore, and people are like, oh no, I hate this, and they ruined it, and they made me spend money because this was a good ship and now it's not. So in my opinion,
all reclaimer owners or redeemer owners right now, just look at how they massacred my boy.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't get it. Like some of the changes in there are good. Like they added more shields on the prospector, on the vulture, where I like that change because it gives you a little more survivability when you're trying to run away. But then they're like nerfing the redeemer on the other side of that, and that's like, that ship is like supposed to be pretty tanky. Like it is supposed to be the poor man's hammerhead, except it costs almost as much as the hammerhead. But you know what I'm getting at. It's like,
no, I get it. And I wonder whether those changes aren't made because they were afraid that with all the changes with master modes, the multi-crew ships were getting a little bit too powerful compared to the single player ships, so to speak.
I think they're also, because if you look at the shield breakdowns on new concepts, like if you look at the Zeus, or if you even look at the changes they did with the change document, to me it looks like they're planning some kind of a shield rebalance where they're gonna buff smaller size shields. Because when you look at the Zeus, it has, what is it, like 6 times size 2 shields. So it has a lot of smaller shields.
Tiny,
So I think maybe they're going to be trying to get at that from that angle, where you have more shields of a smaller scale, so you have a bigger health pool, but you also still have that fast regeneration. And then they might do something with size 3 and size 4 shields, because they upgraded the Reclaimer to size 4 shields, which are technically capital class shields, even though the Reclaimer is not a capital ship. So maybe they're pushing the capital size somewhere else. Maybe they're making that its own category. Because when you think about it, the 890 has a capital size shield generator. And it is a separate component. It is not sized as we would expect. So I think there is some kind of a larger change in the works, and they're doing some preparations for it. How that's going to work, because I don't understand the archetype system. I don't understand where they're trying to go with it.
Yeah, I could see that happen, and maybe they're making these changes to promote the incoming engineering play more.
Could be.
Where components fail over time, or burst into flames, and having more shield generators means more can go up in flames.
It could also be, if you have more shield generators, you can like shut down 4 of them when you're not in combat, and that gives you that energy pool. So you can charge the battery, or put the power somewhere else, and when you need them, you turn them on, and it gives you more flexibility. You still have 2 shields, but if you need them, you can have more. So that's the thing. Like, they're not really telling us the larger context of these changes. All we see is like, my 400i is useless now because it lost all redundancy.
Yep.
So I would like to know the higher order of thought process behind this, essentially. But that's for me as a content creator. That's pretty much everything they do. I would like to know why, so I can talk about it in a video. Because if they don't tell me why, I'm gonna make something up, and 3 years later, I'm gonna turn out I was right. I'm looking at the ship paints video again, guys. You said I was stupid for saying what I said in that video, and now CAG have confirmed that what I said was correct. I was right 3 years ago. I don't know if you saw that one, but it's a great video. If you watch it in retrospect, it's a great video.
Yeah, that's usually how things turn out. Either it's a great, fortune telling video, or it's like, nah, that didn't really age that well, did it?
I rewatched a bunch of my old stuff over the last couple months, like 2-3 months, because I've been doing a lot of changes on the channel, and like with generally how I do my social media and everything. Like I have a TikTok account now, and it's doing way better than I expected. And on one hand, I hate it, and on the other hand, I'm very happy about it. But I've been sort of rewatching my old content, and I would say 80% of things I have said have turned out to be correct when I sort of made something up or I extrapolated from known information. Because CIG are... Oh, yes, I know. You are right there in the chat is my TikTok manager. So yes, you are doing all that work, and I appreciate it very much. So I've been looking at those old videos, and yeah, 80% or more stuff that I have said turned out to be correct, like 3 years down the line. And I don't know if I'm that good or if CIG should just hire me at this point.
That's a recurring question coming from you.
Yeah, I mean, I always say, CIG, you know my email, you know where I live, so just give me a call. Like, you know where I live. You have my email address. You have my phone number. Like, give me a call. Like, we can figure something out. I live in Central Europe. You can underpay me, and it's gonna be okay. That's why I say you can underpay me, and it will be fine. I will still make enough money. So. And I would love to help. I would love to help them with what they do. And they actually have a couple things I could get myself into with my experience. They like the economy simulation stuff. That's very much right down my alley right now, because that's sort of kind of what I do in my real life job. I do finance, so there's some overlap in some things that are happening there. So anyway, Cugix,
yep.
Anything else? I'm sorry. Again, tangents. Tangents upon tangents upon tangents.
No, I think that's it.
Well, in that case, thank you very much for coming on the show. I hope we're going to see you again voluntarily. And I hope I'm not going to have to drag you in at gunpoint, because I will. Yeah, no, I'm trying to get people to come on the show willingly. But for people to do that, I first have to find a couple dozen people who will do it because I asked them to, and then it's gonna kick off. And since I'm rebuilding my Twitch again, there was a whole thing, and there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and a lot of work involves me going out of my comfort zone and inviting people and making people come here. So this week, you and Ariana were the victims of my rampage to have a talk show. Next week, it might also be you.
Oh God, what's next week's topic, or have you not?
I don't know. I usually figure it out around Wednesday, but I think we might do sort of reputation and faction talk, because tomorrow I have a video coming out on factions and how that's gonna appear in Pyro. Or I might do medical gameplay, or I might do mission issues right now, because there are some mission issues people have, or what missions people would like to see. Or if we might actually do conspiracies about Star Citizen, because I have heard a couple over over the last few episodes of the show. I heard some interesting things from people, so I think it's worth its own episode at this point, because I have a few myself. So we will see.
Okay.
Well, so thank you again for joining us.
Week, tinfoil hats.
Tinfoil hats, yeah. Mandatory apparel for next week. Yeah.
Okay.
So thank you again. I appreciate it very much. Great talk, and yeah, you're free to go.
Yay. Okay. Well, thank you for having me, and I'll see you next time.
All right. We will see you next time. Thank you. And have a good night.
Yep. Same to you.
All right, guys. So that was our second guest for today, and we're pretty much coming up on a little over an hour on the stream. Great talk today with both guests we had. Sadly, Solhawk didn't make it. I was kind of looking forward to talking to him about where organizations can help with sort of getting new people in the game. And we sort of touched on that topic with Cugix just now, where, in ADI, we put a lot of emphasis on training and sort of sharing knowledge and teaching people how to do things in Star Citizen. And that extends to not only basic gameplay, but it also extends to best practices and playing together. We play together a lot. We do a lot of smaller events where we have 10, 15 people, and we just go mining. We go salvaging. We go hauling. We go do bounties, stuff where we can share knowledge from people who do this, who are subject matter experts on that gameplay, and we give this knowledge to everybody else. That's a part of the org. And I was hoping to touch more on that with Solhawk, and Solhawk has been around for a very long time, so he would probably have some stories for us. But anyway, so I think that's going to be all for today for the Comm Relay. As always, if you would like to join me on the Comm Relay and talk to me about the topic of the day, all you have to do is join the Armory Discord server. Sorry, I'm going to start over so I can clip that. So if you would like to be on the Comm Relay and talk to me as a guest, all you have to do is join the Armory Discord server. Link in the description of the stream, or on the Armory website, or on my YouTube, or pretty much all my socials have the link to the Armory Discord. There, when it's time for the show, there's going to be the event on Discord, which is going to have the time and date for the show and the topic of the day. And when it's time, hop down to the waiting room voice channel. And once the show starts and I'm ready for you, I'm going to pull you down to on air, and we're going to talk about the topic of the day. I'm going to have some questions for you, and we're going to talk. That's it. That's all you got to do to be on the Comm Relay. And we do this every week at 7 p.m. Central European Time, or I believe it's noon Central Standard Time for you folks in the US. And if you wanted that in UTC, that would be 5 p.m. UTC. So I believe I did that math correctly. So again, thank you all for a great show. Thank you to Cugix and Ariana for joining us today and talking about their experience in Star Citizen as new players and advice they would like to bestow on new players. I'm hoping to see both of them on the show for other topics as well. I hope they will have me. Thank you all for watching. See you next week, hopefully. Fly safe. Thank you for watching again, and I will see you in the verse, and I will see you hopefully on the Comm Relay. Good night.